Hello, Castleview community and future Sabercats. My name is Mr. Erlenbeck, and I'm in charge of the biotechnology program here within BHS at Castleview High School. I wanted to go through and give you a brief introduction into really what biotechnology is, what the program offers, and the direction that it's heading. I'm going to use an analogy to describe this and to discuss this with you, and I'm happy to talk details with you, and I'll include some, but you'll see on the very last slide here, I'll give you some of my contact information if you'd like to talk more specific details. But what I tell my students as I'm introducing the program is biotechnology is like a really big, massive, vast ocean. And within that ocean, there's lots to explore and there's a lot to discover and a lot that is still undiscovered. It's a ton of open space. So continuing with that analogy, the way that I would describe the program here at Castleview is we have 3 separate levels, and we start with the introductory level, which is Biotech 1. With Biotech 1, we're pretty close to the shore here, and we're in the shallow end of what this massive bit of content has to offer. So we really go over the basics, and everybody's pretty guided here. And that guidance comes from me in both the lab and the classroom when it comes to the content and the skills that they're learning. Really, the foundation that I try to set forward here is how do you keep a good scientific lab notebook? How do you work within a modern biology laboratory? And that's really what biotech is. Instead of, sort of being in lab and observing, maybe like we did when we were in high school when it came to biology classes, instead kids here are intentionally designing and manipulating biology. And that's really done through DNA, but ultimately through the expression of proteins. And the way that we study this at Biotech 1 is through human health and conditions and disease. It tends to give a pretty good hook for the students and also give some relevance into the program. We learn really basic things like polymerase chain reaction, not such a basic technology, but it is a basic foundational technology to doing biotech work. We have students extract some DNA. We run it through gels, which we call gel electrophoresis, which is a method of separating DNA, which allows us to analyze it. So really, we're teaching students the basic lab and content skills that they need in order to do work in the biomedical sciences and in biotechnology. In Biotech 2, I'm going to extend that analogy out a little bit further. This would be if we got away from the shore and we went a little bit further out towards the buoys. Our feet aren't going to quite touch the ground right now. We still have some guidance. We know certainly where the boundaries are. We still know where we're at. However, we're starting to get into a little bit deeper territory here. And we might even be encouraged to go just a little bit beyond the boundary, really ask some questions. And the reason that we can do that is we've got some of the basic skills from 1. We know how to swim, right? We know how to operate in the lab, and we know some of the basic content that we need in order to ask some probing questions that might move us beyond what's already known. Here, the main thing that I like to focus on is we'll continue with human health and disease, but we really focus on protein work here. And the way to think about proteins is if DNA is the blueprint, proteins are the things that get made. And typically, if we can manipulate proteins and we can study proteins, we can learn all about all sorts of diseases and applications to problems in the world today with human health or even the environment. So here, students are a little more autonomous in the lab. They have the skills and the wherewithal to do that now. So I'm guiding them a little bit more here, and they're spending more time learning in the lab rather than at the whiteboard. And then finally, we have Biotech 3. And Biotech 3, the analogy I make for my students here is they're out into the vast, deep ocean. And here, you're pretty self-reliant. You're navigating on your own. You might have a guide there with you to sort of help you along the way, and that's why I'm there. But here, there's some original inquiry that's being done. You might even find something that's undiscovered out here. This has the most depth out here for sure, and the least amount of boundaries. So here, students are conducting independent research. They'll start by drafting up independent research proposals. We'll get them into contact with experts if that's something that we need to do. They're doing laboratory work here at Castleview. They might be doing laboratory work off-site, which is typically what we've done. But to ask original, deep questions in the field of biology, biomedical science, and biotechnology, you have to have access to a lot of equipment and tools. So typically, they'd be off campus or working with a professional. Now, what's really, really great about what's going on here at Castleview is you will be the first class to see this next year. This is the expansion of the F-Pod. And if you've driven by Castleview High School recently, you've seen that it's way more expanded than this, but we are going to have some brand new facilities here for biotech at Castleview High School so that we can even go a little bit further, do some really cool, modern, unique experiences for students here at CV, and I'm incredibly excited to help build that program and help design what these classes actually look like. So that's a general overview of what the program is. If you would like to ask me some more questions, or if you'd like to discuss the program further, or if you're a student that is interested, I'm thrilled to discuss this with you. It's my favorite thing to do, not just my favorite thing to teach, but this is also my hobby, and I absolutely love it. So I'm down to talk biotech at any time. You can email me at krerlenbeck@dcsdk12.org. And we can talk through this program if you'd like. Thank you so much for your time tonight. I look forward to seeing you guys all soon. Go SaberCats.